In the dead of night, on February 27, 1942, a small team of British commandos parachuted onto a frozen French beach, hunted by German patrols. Their mission wasn't to destroy a bridge or assassinate a general. It was something far more audacious. They were there to steal a piece of secret Nazi technology from right under the noses of the enemy, and get out alive. This is the story of Operation Biting, a raid so daring and precise, it would write the playbook for special forces for decades to come. By late 1941, Britain was fighting for its life. The Royal Air Force was locked in a deadly struggle with the Luftwaffe. And German night fighters were taking a terrifying toll on British bombers. The Germans seemed to see in the dark, their pilots guided to their targets with uncanny accuracy. The source of this advantage was a closely guarded secret, the Wurzburg radar system. These sophisticated installations dotted the coast of occupied Europe, forming an invisible electronic wall. Allied intelligence knew they had to get their hands on one to understand its secrets and develop countermeasures. But how? The radar sites were heavily fortified, deep inside enemy territory. A conventional attack would be a costly failure. What they needed was a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. The target was a cliff-top villa near the French village of Bruneval in Normandy. Perched precariously on the edge of the English Channel, it housed a fully operational Wurzburg radar. Intelligence gathered by the French resistance and daring RAF reconnaissance flights provided the British with a detailed picture of the site's layout and defenses. The plan that emerged was audacious. A company of newly formed paratroopers, C Company of the 2nd Parachute Battalion, would drop silently from the sky in the dead of night. They would be led by Major John Frost, a man whose name would later become legendary. Their objective: assault the villa, neutralize the German garrison, and, most importantly, have a radar technician dismantle the key components of the Wurzburg dish. They would then fight their way down to the beach, where the Royal Navy would be waiting to pull them out. It was a high-wire act with no safety net. Everything had to go perfectly. As the Armstrong-Whitworth-Whitley bombers droned through the night sky, the 120 men of C Company prepared for the jump. Below them lay a blanket of snow, a double-edged sword that would silence their landing but make them easy targets against the white landscape. The drop was scattered. Major Frost and his group landed on target, but other sections were dropped miles away. And deterred, Frost gathered the men he had and advanced on the objective. The raid was on. The main assault force stormed the villa, their Sten guns and grenades shattering the night silence. The German garrison, caught completely by surprise, put up a fierce but short-lived resistance. While the firefight raged, Flight Sergeant Charles Cox, and RAF radar mechanic, went to work. With bullets whizzing past him, he coolly began dismantling the radar's vital heart, its transmitter, receiver, and modulator using only a basic toolkit. Meanwhile, other paratrooper sections were tasked with securing the flanks and clearing the path to the beach. They encountered heavy resistance from German machine gun nests and roving patrols drawn to the sound of battle. The commandos fought with disciplined ferocity, using their training to overcome a numerically superior enemy. Every second counted, with the precious radar components secured. Frost gave the order to withdraw. The paratroopers fell back in a fighting retreat towards the designated extraction point on Bruneval Beach. But when they arrived, there was a problem. The Royal Navy landing craft were not there. German machine guns on the cliffs opened up, pinning the commandos on the open beach. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed the raid would end in disaster. Just as hope began to fade, the dark shapes of the landing craft appeared through the surf, their own guns firing back at the cliffs to provide cover. Under a hail of fire, the commandos scrambled aboard, carrying their wounded and their priceless technological prize. They had done it. The impact of the Bruneval raid was immediate and profound. The captured Wurzburg components were rushed to British scientists, who quickly unraveled their secrets. This intelligence breakthrough allowed the Allies to develop window, later known as chaff, strips of aluminum foil dropped by bombers to blind and confuse German radar operators. This simple but brilliant countermeasure saved countless Allied aircraft and crews, shifting the balance of the air war. But the raid's legacy went far beyond technology. Operation Biting was a stunning success, a textbook example of a tri-service operation combining intelligence, air power, land forces, and the Navy. It proved the value of small, highly trained parachute units capable of surgical strikes deep behind enemy lines. The courage, precision, and audacity displayed by Major Frost and his men became the blueprint for future Special Forces operations, laying the very foundation for the legendary Special Air Service. The SAS. They were the pioneers. The quiet professionals who proved that with enough daring and skill, a small group of determined men could change the course of the war. If this hidden story of heroism and ingenuity moved you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next journey into the past. More forgotten heroes are waiting to be remembered. Thank you for watching.